this is Kate from Generate Magic. So this is just a reminder that nothing has any inherent meaning outside of the meaning that you assign it. And I first became aware of this truth years and years ago when I started doing tutoring, and I was searching online just trying to find ideas of lesson plans and things that I can actually use to fill the 2 hours for the tutoring session. And I came across a PowerPoint presentation on semiotics. And let me tell you, that presentation completely changed my life. And specifically, the very first slide was this famous, I guess, this French painting of a pipe. And underneath it, it said, "This pipe is not a pipe." And so the whole idea is that everything that we perceive in our reality, whether it's a ice cream cone or a wall or an apple, whatever it is, right? It only is what it is because of the signs and because of the characteristics that we assign to it. And just to give a very logical example, we can use the example of color blindness. And so somebody that is quote unquote colorblind will look at something and will see something a completely different color than somebody else. And so that shows us that whatever we perceive as the solid outside reality really doesn't have any inherent meaning outside of our perception, outside of how we're framing it. And to give another example, people that are considered quote unquote having mental disorders, like for example, people that are diagnosed with schizophrenia, they hear voices or they see things that like other people can't see. And again, who's to say that what they're actually experiencing is somehow false or somehow not real? Because obviously to them, it is a very real experience. It is a very concrete experience. And so you can kind of, the way I think of it is we're all kind of like in our own little avatar or our own little reality bubble that we're walking around in from day to day. And everything that we take on from childhood is kind of informing our reality bubble and the lens through which we perceive the world. And so another example, going back to this PowerPoint presentation on semiotics, is they use the example of the military. And regardless of what you may think about the military or what you may think about warfare, the example that they gave about, it was very relatable. And so they talked about kind of looking at it from a very literal perspective, like, okay, you're voluntarily signing up to go and get shot at and get, bombs dropped, potentially on you, to potentially get killed and to kill other people as well, which to most people, that's something that feels very like alien, like it doesn't feel part of our human nature to kill another human being. And on top of that, it's very like grueling, it's very difficult, you have to do like a lot of running. And so, why would anybody voluntarily sign up for that? And so then it's this whole idea, right, of like honor and valor and serving your country, and it's all the meaning that's really been built into the military. And you can think of sports in the same way. And even if we look at something like football, like why would somebody voluntarily sign up to go and get tackled by other men? Or I'm sure someday there's going to be, there probably already is, women, who play football, American football as well. In fact, in the Olympics, I saw female rugby, and yeah, a little bit of a tangent, but anyway, why would somebody voluntarily sign up for that? And again, it's just kind of everything that goes on in playing a sport, teamsmanship, the honor, the glory, and the excitement, the adrenaline rush, the sense of pride that you get. And yeah, so there's just so much that is built into it. And so then you can kind of think about it like in your everyday life, right? And the meaning that you've built into certain things, like looking at your bank account, for instance. And yeah, these are really just numbers when you really think about it. But So much of us, myself included, have really kind of have used these numbers to really kind of assign value to ourselves. And if our bank account is not a certain number, to kind of deem ourselves like unworthy, or we even use words to describe it, like I'm so broke. And broke, if we think about it, signifies broken, right? Like I'm broken, I'm fragmented, I'm incomplete. And then we go looking for things outside of ourselves to try and fix the sense of brokenness. And another example is in relationships and all the miscommunications, all the issues that can take place in relationships, again, as a result of how we're perceiving things. And it could even be, we don't receive a certain text message that we were looking for, and so we start to kind of build all sorts of meaning into it, like, oh, maybe they're seeing somebody else now, maybe they don't care about me anymore, maybe they don't love me anymore, or somebody sends a message and we read like all sorts of meaning into it. And so obviously, as you can see, the list just goes on and on and on. But it's recognizing that you are the only meaning maker in your reality. And so therefore, why not assign meaning that is favorable, that is aligned to whatever it is that you want? And really just seeing reality as being rigged in your favor. And so also I thought of this in terms of movies and music. And for a long time, I was of the belief that Hollywood movies and popular music has certain agendas from the quote-unquote elites built into it. And therefore, we should not listen to this music or watch these movies if we don't want to be brainwashed. But then I really started to think about it, and I thought, well, the only person that's consenting to be brainwashed would be myself. It's not like the government or the elites or whoever can actually literally go into my brain and start, messing around with the gears of my brain and implanting certain messages into me. And certainly I do believe that there's certain kind of agendas that are behind, certain, forms of entertainment and certain, forms of media. But at the same time, we're the ultimate authority. And it all comes down to the quote from the Bible. And I'm just kind of ripping on this here, so I may misquote it, but there could be no authority if it were not given from above. And so, in other words, all of this stuff, the movies, the music, the agendas, that horrible text message you got, or that comment that you got on your video from a hater, or whatever, none of that has any meaning, has any authority over you, has any power over you, unless you give it power, unless it is given from above being you as your I am, right? As that divine awareness, who, as the observer, who gets to assign meaning to everything. And so now, whenever I'm watching something, like I decide, okay, well, I'm going to decide what this means to me. I'm going to assign it with, I'm going to see like the empowerment in it. And really, I think a lot of forms of popular entertainment do have really empowering messages, like if you really dig deep. But I think Avatar is a really great example of this very beautiful message, I think, in these movies of unity and love and harmony. Black Panther is another series where I feel is very just divinely inspired, and I just feel like a great sense of empowerment when I watch those movies. And if there's something in a movie where I feel like that it is kind of off, or I don't really agree with that, well, I have the power, I have the ability and the right to disagree. I don't have to take it on, as my own truth. And so you always give the final consent. That's the message that I really want to impart with you today. And Yeah, and to give another example, the John Mayer song "I Am Bigger Than My Body," I think is another just really. I'm not even really big fan of John Mayer. Most of the music I tend to listen to, especially if you looked at my metaphysical messages and music playlist, they tend to come, from the 70s, 80s, 90s. But I think that is a very, very beautiful and very powerful message. And so remember again that you are the ultimate power, you are the ultimate authority and the ultimate meaning maker in your reality. And nothing has any power over you unless you give it power. And so try to look at everything with a favorable meaning. And that really is the ultimate form of alchemy as well, and the ultimate form of empowerment. And so with that, thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.